Happy Thanksgiving, first of all. I know it's a day ahead. That's number one. Number two, glad to be back at it. I'm sure Coach Reed talked about the break and so forth. We're well on to Oakland, so I'll turn our attention there and I'll just open it up.
Your own self-scouting that every coach does during the bye week. What are some of the things that maybe you saw that you'd like to clean up now?
No, probably some of the obvious things you know. I mean, we begin with the run game. But there was plenty there to keep our eye on. I mean, it was going to begin there, but it always does. There were some good things, you know. There's some good plays in there, some we'd like to get rid of. The explosive plays are the ones that always jump out at me.
What have you thought of what you've gotten out of the secondary this year? I mean, it's a group that hadn't played together, and I don't think any of that personnel had played together. So
Yeah.
I imagine you knew it wasn't going to be week 1, week 2 that those guys were.
It's a really good point. I tell you, I'd credit Dave Merritt and Sam Madison for the job they've done back there. I'll credit those guys, you know, the leaders. I mean, obviously, T5, Honey Badger came in, he's a leader, but guys like Kendall Fuller who have been here, you know, and kind of pieced it together. This happened to me in New York, and I credited the players that were there. The same thing kind of happened here. Sometimes when you bring in a bunch of free agents, new faces, you know, the players that are already here, it's as important as what they do as the people that came in. In other words, I think our guys have done a really good job embracing the new players that have come on board. And, the successful plays we have had, I think have a little bit to do with that. And we got a long way to go. We're not there yet, but I think it's a good point. They've played well.
Steve, injuries are obviously a part of the game, and sometimes you have to bring in a guy middle of the season. When that occurs, especially in the case for someone like Mike Pennell, how do you try to ingrain him into the system, not give him too much, not too little, but ease him in a way that seems, at least from a production standpoint, like he's been one of the more positive aspects of the game?
He certainly did a nice job last week. I mean, that stuck out in some of the plays that he had. I would always credit the assistant coaches. They're the ones that have to sit with them the extra hours after a meeting, in between a walkthrough and a practice, and to the player themselves. If they're willing to embrace, study it, it's chin to the hairline at that point, then they can do some of the things that Mike did. But that's kind of part of the league. I mean, it happens all over the place. So he's done a nice job with it.
Coach, is there anything from the first Oakland game you can take into this game? This is the first time you go out there and read the game.
Yeah.
I know you did very well outside of that first quarter, but is there still anything you can kind of improve upon?
Well, I think personnel-wise you can. Guys that are in their individual battles, me against you, you against me, and I think that helps. It was so early in the season that I think both teams or both units, I'll speak for the defensive unit and their offensive unit, have changed. So I think you got to work through that. Probably just the familiarity of the player, and I would say the players probably get a really good benefit out of it going against the guy across the other side of the line of scrimmage.
What stands out as different about the Raiders offensively from the last time you saw them?
Well, the whole line to me looks like the strength of. Now at the time we played them, they didn't have the two guards, and they're playing really well. Now I know the center's been hurt, not hurt, but when he's in, I think it's a really solid O-line. I'll take time every once in a while to watch some of the TV broadcast games rather than the coach's tape. And I do remember one of the announcers talking about the heaviest O-line maybe in the NFL, the biggest, and certainly 70. This is what I remember about playing him the first time. 77 is a large man. That's a big dude. He made our guys look small. But I just think that begins there. And the running back, I mean, he's as good as there is in the league, and he just gets better and better and better. I realize they may be without one of their weapons, but they have a tight end who's really good, and I have a great deal of respect for the quarterback and the guy calling the plays. So,
Coach Reed said that the only putting up 3 points last weekend isn't really indicative of what kind of team this Raiders team is, but from your perspective in watching that, was there anything that you learned that might help you and this defense limit them come Sunday?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a beg, borrow, and steal world, or a league. If there's something that a team does well the previous week or weeks before, we'll steal it if we can. We can't venture too far from what we are. Their defense is a little bit different, but they did a real nice job defensively. But I agree with Coach Reed. I don't think that's really indicative of the team that the Raiders are right now. They're on a pretty good roll, and we've got a great deal of respect for them.
Do you get something from watching the TV feed?
I do. I don't know whether it's the feel for, being in the game rather than the silence of the coach's tape. You know, maybe it keeps me awake. Maybe that's why I do it. But the one thing you do lose is you don't get the whole big picture.
Right.
But yeah, I'll often do that just to whip through the game and then go back to the coach's tape and pick it apart a little bit.
condensed tab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit.
I know you're pretty forward-looking, but it really felt like Frank had a breakthrough of some sort last Monday. What, in your mind, was just him being a little healthier, or do you think there was something that led to that?
I'm not, you probably have to ask him. I did say this to him. I thought he had a really good focus during the week, and it was nice to see when that happens that it results in good play. I mean, I thought he helped us a lot. I mean, people will look at the sacks and whatnot, but there was a 3rd and 3 there that he came through and tackled. And I thought that was as important a play as any. And that was basically what we've been preaching toward the end here, and we always do, situational awareness and discipline in your play as you venture into November and December is really important.
You mentioned Jacobs and the Raiders' run game, and you've faced a series of really good running backs, and you've used different schemes, different personnel approaches. And you talked about the explosive plays as well. Do you feel like you're getting closer as far as trying to figure out what's the right mix for this group?
Yeah, sometimes I feel close, and then all of a sudden I feel further away. And that happens when you play against good players. You know, they can pop it out there. I mean, Tennessee certainly wasn't a good memory, but we did a better job against the Chargers. I like the fact that our guys bounced back. I'd like to see if we could get some consistency in doing that. That's the thing that we're chasing right now. Have some good plays versus the run and continue to do it.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, good.